We often assume we know everything about our favorite stars, the iconic roles, the public accolades, the glossy interviews. But sometimes, even Hollywood's brightest talents hide chapters that defy expectation. Tonight, we enter one such hidden chapter, the final days and secret passions of Academy Award-winning actor Gene Hackman. When Gene Hackman passed away, the world mourned the fiery detective from The French Connection, the stubborn coach from Hoosiers, and the unforgettable Lex Luthor in Superman. Yet few realized he left behind a trove of shocking revelations. It all begins with a dusty Toyota Celica discovered in his Santa Fe garage, an old race car strewn with cryptic items like diaries, medical logs, even a letter from director William Friedkin praising Hackman as the bravest driver in Hollywood. Why did he keep this hidden? What do these forgotten artifacts say about the legend we thought we knew? Tonight, we'll walk through each discovery, examining the secrets that might change your view of Gene Hackman forever. From clandestine races at Daytona to deeply personal fears about a pacemaker, we'll explore the final puzzle pieces that shed light on a star who blended private obsession with public brilliance. The revelations might astound you, and the questions they raise linger like dust in a silent desert wind. Let's begin. Investigators were stunned when they first stepped into Gene Hackman's garage in Santa Fe, New Mexico. For years, he had lived quietly there with his wife, Betsy Arakawa, devoting himself to painting, writing, and the occasional stroll through the picturesque desert. Friends described his retirement as calm and uneventful. Yet after his death, a simple turn of a doorknob unveiled a surprising scene. Sitting amid paint cans and dusty boxes was an early 1980s Toyota Celica draped in a thick layer of neglect. At first glance, it looked like an unremarkable old car, but a closer inspection revealed a faded decal on the windshield. 24 Hours of Daytona, 1983. This wasn't any random automobile. This was a relic from one of motorsport's most legendary endurance races. A flurry of questions surged. Had Gene Hackman, the celebrated actor, actually competed at Daytona? Why had he kept this pursuit such a secret? Within hours, news leaked to the press, igniting a wave of speculation. Fans who thought they knew everything about Hackman's film roles were left speechless. Hollywood insiders scrambled for confirmation, photos, statements, interviews from the 1980s, and indeed, a handful of dusty newspaper clippings soon surfaced, reporting that the actor had once flirted with professional racing. But no one realized he had gone as far as entering high-stakes events like Daytona. Until now, inside the Celica, investigators found tangible proof of Hackman's passion for racing. Worn-out leather gloves, stained with motor oil, lay on the passenger seat. A framed participant certificate sat on the back seat, bearing Hackman's signature and the date of the 1983 Daytona run. Tucked underneath was a black and white photograph of him grinning beside a small pit crew. His expression radiated the same intensity he brought to his iconic movie chase scenes. Except this time, the adrenaline was real. Close friends later confirmed that Hackman's involvement in racing was a private thrill, something he guarded closely. He'd occasionally mention track days or racing lessons, but never in front of tabloid reporters or Hollywood colleagues. For him, racing was freedom. It had nothing to do with box office success or critical acclaim. It was about the raw rush of speed. One friend explained it best. Gene told me that on a racetrack, you live or die by skill alone, not by Hollywood's applause. The question arose, could his experience behind the wheel have influenced his on-screen chase sequences? In The French Connection, Hackman's portrayal of Popeye Doyle included some of the most legendary car chases ever filmed. Now, fans suspect those sequences felt so authentic because Hackman approached them with a racer's mindset. He understood the tension of hairpin turns, the stakes of pushing beyond one's limits. This revelation cast new light on his filmography, suggesting his Hollywood chase scenes might have been more than just acting. As investigators combed deeper into the Celica, another discovery emerged, an original French Connection script. It was battered and peppered with Hackman's handwritten notes, scribbles, and even references to specific driving techniques. In the margins, one note read, "Too tight at third corner. Loosen grip, but keep full throttle." Such a comment might seem odd for an actor, but for a racer, it was second nature. The lines between performance and reality blurred. Hackman wanted every chase scene to reflect the real tension of a high-stakes pursuit. Behind the script, Folded carefully in a worn envelope was a letter from director William Friedkin, dated shortly after the French Connection wrapped. It praised Hackman's bravery and authenticity on set. Friedkin wrote, "You're the bravest driver in Hollywood," going on to say that Hackman's willingness to push boundaries was a pivotal reason the film's chase scenes became iconic. Seeing these words in the context of the hidden Celica painted a vibrant picture of an actor who refused to let fear dictate his craft. These items were more than collectibles. They were intimate testaments to a man whose risk-taking spirit fueled not only his cinematic roles, but also his personal life. For fans, it was a revelation. For investigators, it was a roadmap leading them to an even deeper secret, the pacemaker log. Amid the racing memorabilia, police discovered a leather-bound folder labeled Pacemaker Log. Inside were meticulous notes about Hackman's heart readings, spanning several years. Each page featured dates, times, electrical pulse measurements, and short annotations in his neat, slanted handwriting. Phrases like mild arrhythmia, discussed with a private physician, or irregular pulse, fear of device failure, appeared multiple times. This log contradicted Hackman's outward image as a robust actor who performed tough guy roles well into his later years. Beneath that confidence lurked a man worried about the reliability of his heart device. Friends say he occasionally voiced concerns about older pacemaker models, fearful that a manufacturer defect could prove fatal. He wasn't paranoid, they insist, just methodical, seeking data and second opinions to ensure he remained in control of his fate. Why store these logs in the Celica? One theory is that Hackman viewed the car as a personal vault, a place he could keep pieces of his past away from prying eyes. Another idea is that the logs represented the flip side of his racing obsession, an acknowledgement that his heart might give out even as he pursued high-speed thrills. That duality, embracing adrenaline while anxiously recording each heartbeat, captured the essence of a man determined to live fully despite looming mortality. The next revelation came from the Celica's CD player, discovered in a paused state. The track in question was Debussy's Clair de Lune, performed by none other than Betsy Arakawa, Hackman's wife, a talented concert pianist in her own right. Investigators noted the display read, "Track 9, paused," as if someone had halted the music mid-note. Was it a random glitch, or did Hackman deliberately stop the track at a significant moment? For years, neighbors in Santa Fe recounted how Hackman and Betsy would take early morning drives through quiet desert roads. They listened to classical music, allowing the hushed melodies to blend with the open landscape. It was the antithesis of Hackman's racing escapades, a slow, contemplative ritual. Clair de Lune had special meaning for the couple. Betsy first performed it during a recital, where Hackman sat enthralled in the front row. They often joked it was the moment he fell in love, not just with her music, but with her spirit. Thus, seeing the music halted halfway felt symbolic, like a life paused mid-measure. Maybe it was a final nod to the serenity he found with Betsy, a gentle farewell left unspoken. Or maybe it was a coincidence. Either way, the paused track echoed the abrupt end of Hackman's story, a sudden silence, where once there was movement and sound. Another perplexing twist surfaced in the Celica's interior. Clumps of dog hair embedded in the seats, along with a fine layer of red-tinged dust, not native to the Santa Fe region. Hackman and Betsy owned an older retriever mix named Charlie, known to be skittish in cars. Close friends insisted Charlie rarely rode with them. So why was the car's interior coated in the dog's fur? Adding to the mystery was the red dust, which forensic experts confirmed came from a more remote desert environment, far from the usual routes Hackman traveled. No local surveillance captured the Celica, and neighbors didn't recall seeing Hackman drive it recently. Yet the presence of foreign dust and dog hair suggested a final journey took place before his death. Speculation mounted. Did Hackman take Charlie on one last drive to a favorite overlook or spiritual spot? Or did someone else drive the Celica with Charlie on board? For reasons unknown, conspiracy theories circulated, some implying Hackman might have visited an off-grid location tied to his pacemaker concerns, or perhaps a clandestine meeting. Absent any definitive evidence, these theories remain unconfirmed. Still, the dog hair and dust stand as clues to an unsolved puzzle, an unexplained trip that might hold emotional, or more ominous, significance. For many, the most poignant find was a small leather notebook in the trunk. Investigators say it contained reflections, quotes, and personal thoughts written by Hackman over the last months of his life. The final entry, dated February 16th, read, "If this is the final stretch, I have no regrets. I only regret that Betsy will have to go on alone." The following day, on February 17th, Hackman's pacemaker logged its first in a series of abnormal readings. Less than a week later, the actor passed away. This chilling timeline led some to believe Hackman, since the end was near. Although he never officially designated the notebook as a will, those who read it described it as a powerful farewell from a man at peace with his life's accomplishments, though devastated to leave his wife behind. Close friends later explained that Hackman often refused to speak in terms of last testaments or final wishes. He viewed such formalities as invitations to worry. Instead, he placed his hopes, fears, and goodbyes in scattered notes and diary entries, like a living record of his thoughts. That final line about Betsy underscored the depth of their connection, proving that beneath the tough exterior, Hackman was tenderly devoted to the woman he cherished. Further intrigue arose when police examined the Celica's outdated but still functional GPS unit. Data indicated that on February 16th, the same date as Hackman's last journal entry, the car traveled about 7 miles along a winding mountain pass. It then stopped for 17 minutes in a remote area devoid of cell coverage or witnesses. Beyond that, the GPS log ended abruptly, with no further recorded movements. Why there and why that day? One rumor holds that Hackman and Betsy enjoyed watching sunrises from this particular vantage point. Another theory posits that Hackman might have intended to remain there if his health gave out, fulfilling a private wish to die in the serenity of the desert rather than in a hospital bed. Without additional evidence, these remain guesses. Yet the timing, a mysterious drive on the very day he wrote his final diary entry, raises haunting questions about whether he was, in some way, saying goodbye to life. When news of Hackman's pacemaker logs and that last drive broke, tabloids seized the moment. Headlines screamed about Hackman's final secrets, a race against mortality. And could faulty technology have killed him? Investigators added fuel to the fire by confirming the existence of tapes, photographs, and documents found in the Celica's trunk that hinted at potential Hollywood scandals. Some rumored these files held incriminating evidence about the entertainment industry. Others suggested a link to class action lawsuits against pacemaker manufacturers. No concrete proof emerged that Hackman was targeted or that his pacemaker was deliberately tampered with. Still, Hackman's detailed heart logs painted a picture of a man fearful enough to meticulously track every deviation in his heartbeat. Close friends denied any conspiratorial leanings, insisting Hackman was just thorough. Yet once a story like this breaks, it's hard to stifle rumors. For every official statement dismissing foul play, a new wave of speculation arises, fueling the notion that perhaps the actor stumbled onto something bigger. Shortly after the car's contents were made public, Hackman's family released a brief message. Gene Hackman was a dedicated actor, beloved husband, and loyal friend. The items found in his vehicle reflect personal moments he chose to keep private. We hope the world will remember him for his remarkable contributions to film, rather than reduce his life to rumors and speculation. Some fans respected this request, focusing on the beauty of Hackman's cinematic legacy. Others, however, found the newly revealed details too compelling to ignore. Did Hackman's racing notes influence the frenetic energy of his action films? Were his final days a testament to courage or a tragic acceptance of a defective device? Social media was rife with debates, dividing those who saw him as a straightforward artist versus those who believed deeper secrets shaped his end. News outlets took varied approaches. Some aired documentaries showcasing the Celica, the racing gear, and the French Connection script. Others launched exposés questioning the safety of older pacemakers. In time, the frenzy cooled, but the puzzle of Hackman's last days remains an enduring fascination. The Celica, now often referred to as Hackman's time capsule, has become symbolic of a story more layered than any movie plot. One overlooked aspect is the role of Charlie, Hackman's aging retriever mix. The dog hair in the Celica suggests Charlie was present during that mysterious drive, or another trip that left behind foreign dust. Was Hackman's final goodbye a private excursion with the companion he trusted most? Some dog lovers find this detail heartbreakingly poignant. An iconic actor spending his last days, ensuring his furry friend experienced one last adventure. Tragically, Charlie passed away at the Hackman home not long after Gene's death, possibly due to age or heartbreak. While it's easy to read symbolism into the dog's passing, it underscores the emotional weight of these last months. Two old souls nearing life's finish line together. Whether or not it relates to conspiracy, this detail resonates with fans who see it as a testament to Hackman's quiet love for animals and family, an aspect rarely highlighted in glitzy Hollywood retrospectives. Now we stand at the end of a winding road, trying to piece together the final portrait of Gene Hackman. We have 1. A hidden Celica from the 1980s, bearing evidence of an unpublicized racing career. 2. A trove of personal notes in the glove box, including an annotated French Connection script and a heartfelt letter from William Friedkin. 3. A pacemaker log documenting years of worry, hinting at looming mortality. 4. A pause track of Claire de Lune, performed by Betsy Arakawa, suggesting a last shared moment of beauty. 5. Stray dog hair and foreign dust that might indicate a final clandestine trip with Charlie. 6. A leather notebook with one last, haunting entry, acknowledging that his time was up. Is this merely the mosaic of a private man who wanted to exit on his own terms? Or does it hint at larger intrigues, faulty medical devices, potential Hollywood secrets, or even undisclosed heartbreaks? Official statements remain vague, and no conclusive evidence has surfaced to prove any foul play. Still, the puzzle pieces coax us to wonder about the stories Hackman took to his grave. Gene Hackman was a figure of dualities. On screen, he played characters of fearless resolve. Off-screen, he grappled with the fragility of life, meticulously tracking heart fluctuations as if anticipating an abrupt finale. He relished fast cars in secret, even as he cherished slow, deliberate drives through the desert with classical music as his soundtrack. He hid certain passions from fans, not out of shame, but perhaps because some joys are richer when unburdened by public scrutiny. Ultimately, the Celica stands as a quiet metaphor, a dusty capsule of pursuits, fears, and affections he chose to keep hidden. Racing gear shares space with pacemaker log. A chase scene script sits alongside notes about impending mortality. Together, they paint a portrait of a man who lived multiple lives within one lifetime. Actor, racer, husband, worrier, romantic. Maybe Hackman's greatest legacy isn't just in the Oscar-winning performances, but in the reminder that we're all more complicated than appearances suggest. Every life holds secrets, some mundane, some profound, some that remain locked away until a final revelation. For Hackman, that revelation arrived in a silent garage, through an unassuming car that told stories more dramatic than any script. In the end, what resonates most is the poignant mix of bravery and vulnerability. A man who could fearlessly maneuver high-speed turns also feared a heart device he didn't trust. A legendary actor known for epic chase scenes found solace in gentle classical music and the companionship of an aging dog. Perhaps that's the real message. A life fully lived can be both bold and quiet, triumphant and deeply personal, a tapestry woven from exhilarating heights and hushed uncertainties. So, the next time you watch Gene Hackman tear across the screen in a thrilling pursuit, remember that somewhere in New Mexico, an old Toyota Celica once held the final clues to a soul who, like all of us, was shaped by passions, regrets, and the undeniable pull of time. As for the mysteries left unanswered, they linger, just like the paused note of Claire de Lune, an unfinished measure in the symphony of a remarkable life. Was Gene Hackman's secrecy about his pacemaker and racing career driven by a desire for privacy? Or did he stumble onto something bigger that forced him into silence? Did he plan that final drive as a last farewell to the desert he loved? Share your thoughts or any memories of Gene Hackman that resonated with you. After all, in exploring the unknown chapters of a Hollywood legend's life, we might just discover that everyone holds a hidden story, waiting for the right moment to surface.